How's it going, guys? So I'll be getting to the build video, the unboxing, and the materials list that I'm going to use for this forge here after a bit. I'll probably put a little check mark, where you can go to fast forward, or a little chapter mark. But I did want to talk first of what led me up to this point of needing this forge. Right now, I won't be forging, any types of steel. I won't be making it in Damascus. I don't have really the machinery for that. Machinery to grind, sculpt, cut metal, I do, but I do have the YouTube Knife Maker Challenge. It's the Chopper Challenge coming up. Right now it's about a month and a couple weeks away, and I have a piece of 1095 spring steel that I need to heat treat, and I've never heat treated before. I do know that it needs to get up to about 1700 degrees Fahrenheit, and this forge was my best option. I did a lot of research to see, because essentially I needed something that could accommodate a long metal object. I won't go further into that, but it is going to be something like a cleaver. But anyway, I did want to talk about what led me up to needing this forge. In the future I will hopefully be able to forge actual material, but heat treating is one thing why I need it. I started making props probably 12, 13 years ago, and that included swords. And these swords that I started making back then were just out of wood. Wood that I spray painted, sculpted, cut out, and then wrapped with like a faux leather. So essentially like it's a vinyl with a print to it. Something that's textured to make it look like, dragon scale or anything like that. After that, I started going into like prop making as far as metal props, because metal props weren't really a big thing, and that's something I wanted to jump into. I've always loved to make swords, design swords. I just couldn't get behind the price point of affording a sword. I know now why, but this was a good start on how to design a sword, make a sword, shape a sword, wrap it, things like that. Without needing like heavy-duty machinery. From there, I advanced on to making Captain America shields out of aluminum, as well as aluminum swords. Now, aluminum swords are lightweight. They have no edge bevels, so they're not going to be slicing anything. It's just straight flat cut. There's no actual cutting edge. The tips on those are sharp, but that's about it. For a while there, the conventions that I went to and sold all my stuff at, they allowed pretty much any kind of cosplay prop in to walk around with, to play with, to take pictures with, everything. And then they started to ban anything that was made out of metal. So the aluminum swords kind of got kicked to the side, and I started playing around with making steel. Now, these are just regular steel, A36 hot rolled steel. Nothing special about it. It's not a tool steel, it's not heat treatable. So this will look good, and it will have an edge, but it won't hold that edge. But basically I took the knowledge that I had from these and moved it on to the cleavers that I have here. These were essentially everything that was going to help me figure out how to grind, how to do bevels, how to do textures, things like that. Not to mention how to work with actual real leather. So that is what these essentially got me to. And at this point, I moved on to, selling these. I think I've made 4 or 5 cleavers so far. Out of steel, not aluminum. Now, the last one that I made was an actual sword. You can see it behind me. Actually, last 2. I'm working on the Best Man sword video right now, which is this one, but prior to that, I had made the fantasy sword. That was for the YouTube Knife Maker Challenge. And these both I made out of just regular A36 hot rolled steel. Ground them, shaped them, there's videos on them and everything. But I did note at that point that I was entering into a world of people that I was competing with that actually had knowledge about forging. Not only forging, but heat treating as well. The next YouTube Knife Maker Challenge is coming up. It's the Chopper Challenge. And I'm designing a chopper. I'll just leave it at that. Right now, it's about a month and a half away from closing, so I've got to get on it. But I have a piece of 1095 spring steel. That's why I need this forge. This piece of 1095 spring steel, I need to heat treat to about 16 or 1700 degrees Fahrenheit, and I did a lot of research. This forge is hopefully, fingers crossed, double fingers crossed, hopefully what I need. Like I said, I did a lot of research. This is a build that I'm doing kind of off of my own research. I'm not saying this is how it should be done. I'm not saying this is the correct way of it being done. I might even make mistakes on the way, and I might even be doing steps wrong. Any input back, that'd be great. I'm totally open to that. I'm entering a world that I don't know at this point. Like the gradual steps from, it's kind of loud, to aluminum, and then from aluminum to steel. These are baby steps that kind of lead from one to the next, and this is that point that I feel a little uncomfortable, but hopefully, fingers crossed, this forge will be able to get me up to the temps that I need, and in the future, when I can start forging, this forge should be able to hit those temperatures. As far as the forge itself, I know it's rated for up to 2200 degrees Fahrenheit. So that should be good enough. But without further ado, let's get to the forge. Now, it's heavy and it's big. Triple burner propane forge from Cast Master. Again, I don't know the company, I don't know the brand. I did a lot of research as far as size. The things that I make are really large. I want to say this was 34 inches by 12 inches tall, and it's like oval shaped. So I needed something that I could at least get, you know, a sword or cleaver into. Because going forward, I would love to make these cleavers after I finish these out of spring steel or any type of tooling steel that I can harden. As far as the materials, I got 100 HT ceramic coating. From the research that I've seen, this stuff is like the bee's knees as far as lining the inside of your forge. There is a insulation blanket inside this forge. It does come with that as far as the pictures and information that I saw, so it should already come pre-lined with essentially the ceramic blanket that, you know, retains the heat. I want to say everything that I got is from Amazon. I have links below. I don't know how to do affiliate links. They might be affiliate links. As far as right now, this second, I'll just put links. I don't know how to do affiliation stuff. But anyway, this was $30. This bad boy is a little over $300. I think $315, somewhere in that ballpark. Now, I would love to line all of the insulation blanket with this, but from what I saw, you don't necessarily need it. This is kind of to increase the heat that basically can be moved around in your forge, is what I'm getting from it. And it also makes it long lasting, so all the clay doesn't deteriorate. Now, all of these, which this is from Amazon, but came from Mr. Volcano. This all was from Amazon, came from Mr. Volcano. These were all together $24.99, $25. And they're 8-ounce packs, I guess, so that you can only make, you know, small amounts or however much you want. It was supposed to come with 4.5 pounds. By my count, 8 ounce and 8 ounces would be 16. That would be 1 pound. I might be wrong. And then 2 pounds, and then half a pound. It was supposed to be 4.5. By my count, I'm guessing 1, 2.5. So it may have been something that they mixed up, but I think it's going to be enough, especially with these two combined. After that, this was, I think, $30. I won't be using a lot of this. Carbasol fumed silica, thickening agent for liquids. From my research that I saw, the insulation blanket that's already in the forge needs to be rigidized. And from what I can gather, that means basically stiffening it and hardening it, rigidizing, thus, the blanket. So the insulation blanket is almost like a fiberglass type blanket. I used it to line my my Cerakoting. I basically took 2 smokers, skinned everything out, took them all apart, put insulation blanket on the inside, put all the skins back inside, and it took these smokers for Cerakoting from about 150 degree tops that would get hot as heck on the outside, insulating it to where I'm reaching, I think, a temperature of 450 degrees inside, and you can touch the outside of the smokers, and they're like nice and cool. They're not even close to hot. So essentially, the insulation blanket, when I was cutting that, I came across, if you've ever done duct work or anything in the attic, it's almost like the fiberglass particles that get into your skin and they start itching, irritates you a lot. The Rigidizer is supposed to keep that stuff, the fiberglass particles, from reaching the air, reaching your lungs, reaching anywhere that it shouldn't be. So essentially, from what I can gather, step 1, mix this with water. I'll talk about that as I go. Rigidize the blanket. And once that's dry and cooked to a certain time and temperature, the masonry, what is this? The refractory cement masonry. And then after that is set this guy, the 100 HD. So that's essentially the steps that I'm going to go with this. Mr. Volcano must be a big seller online because I also got the Parks 50 from Amazon. I can't remember how much this was, but it was almost half the price that I've seen Parks 50 anywhere else. Parks 50 is something I'll be doing with the 1095 spring steel, basically to quench it. Once it comes from this forge, really hot, hopefully, double fingers crossed, 1700 Fahrenheit, will quench in this stuff. I wasn't sure how much a gallon was going to get me, and I think I need more, but luckily I have time. But with that said, we'll go ahead and cut this open and see how it looks. Oh yeah, also I start making butter knives. So I was modifying existing butter knives. They're all stainless steel to an extent. The majority of the butter knives that I find are made in China, so the type of stainless varies, but they're fun to grind, modify, make a Kydex sheath for, put a little clip on it. So, alright, looks like we got a user manual, which is cool. Alright, got hoses. Oh, dude, that is huge. Ooh, that's pretty too. You know what? I might have to pop this on the ground to get it out. So let me do that. Oh! Again, like I said, it's pretty heavy and so hard. Not too bad on the size. Right, so pull the pin. I think that end should be open. This pin. You would think that it would open. I'm sure it's something user error right now. But there it is. Oh, cool, man. Looks like there's something inside. And I'm touching the blanket with my hands. Like I said, the insulation blanket, it's almost like fiberglass. Oh yeah, it should come with 3 fire bricks. So the fiberglass, like I said, you don't want to inhale. You don't want to really get it on your skin unless you want to inhale. But, ooh. Let me just bang this stuff around a little bit more, huh? All right. There's number 2. I should probably figure out how to get the back off. Maybe try this big old handle. There we go. And fire brick number 3. So, that's essentially where I'm at. I don't think I will be utilizing the fire bricks in the way that you're supposed to by keeping them inside and laying your projects on it. Because if I am to do anything like a sword or a cleaver, I will want to be going with an even heat this way. And that takes up quite a bit of space. I don't really think that heat treating one side versus the other side is really the best way to go. But I think this should do the job. I will probably end up using these as maybe little doors to close off. But as far as right now, that's the forge. I'm going to call this part of the video done. I'll hop on to the next part of the video here in a couple days as far as doing the Rigidizer to the blankets. Every step as far as these go will take, I think it's anywhere from 12 hours to 24 hours. It's essentially letting stuff dry. Once you spray the blanket with the Rigidizer, that's got to sit for a day to 2 days, then you bake it off to make sure that everything's nice and dry, not a lot of moisture. Got stuff in here. And then after that, oh, that's cute. I guess I need blacksmithing stuff because I don't have anything. And then after that, you would do the refractory cement. I think that takes a couple days to dry. And you will want to, as far as what I saw, do multiple, oh, that's cool, multiple coats, thin coats. I guess if you go too thick on the refractory cement, it could crack. So I definitely don't want that. And then after that, I will do the 100 HT, which again will probably take a couple days. So each step of the way, you know, it'll be a couple days. So thanks for sticking with me so far, and I will check in with you on the next part of the video for you guys, probably 2 seconds. Later. Alright guys, so next step, basically, well, first step I guess, is going to be rigidizing the ceramic blanket inside the forge, as well as the forge door. From my research, I've seen some people, you know, like soak the blanket top, bottom, middle, like completely submerged in the Rigidizer. So this is already, you know, cut to size, formed to size, it's where it's at. You know, there's even holes for each of the burners. I'm going to go ahead and just soak it from the inside, you know, basically leave it where it's at and soak it through, getting it pretty much submerged. So, I mean, there's a lot of people that say, you know, once you rigidize it, it gets too hard to actually form back into your forge. So it might be a plus. So I'm going to go ahead and do it that way. Again, from my research, it looks like 1 cup fumed silica to 16 ounces of water. So I got my water here, fumed silica. I've also got food coloring, and that's basically just to add to the mixture. So when you're applying it, you can see where you've applied it, how thick it's been applied. Just make sure you don't miss any spots. I know some people have tried spraying this on. Some people have had a little success. Most of the time this stuff does clog the sprayer, so I have an old paintbrush that you know, I saved just for purposes like this. Cut the handle off so I can actually get like inside such this, you know, small area. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with that. I'll probably do 2 cups to 32 ounces and see how far that gets me. I might do some cutaways to maybe stand the forge up, because I know I'll be rotating it, but to get all the way down and inside there, I might stand it up just for ease of access. So, all right, let's try mixing this stuff up. Again, this is my first time doing it, just based off of research, and fingers crossed it's gonna work. From what I have, you know, seen people talking about, this is definitely the way to go. All right, so we have 1 cup here, 1 more cup. Looks like this stuff does get airborne. I have my mask just in case, but I won't be mixing too much of this stuff or agitating it very much, so I think we'll be okay. Get that out of the way. Let's see, so I have my water here. I'm using hot water just for the fact that hopefully it'll evaporate a little faster. So this should be 30, oh, no, 24. All right, 32 ounces of water to 2 cups. Pour that in. Now, from everything that I've read, the silica does bond to water, so as it mixes, it will just pretty much dissolve, and you can apply from there. All right, there we go. Old paint stir stick, just figured that might be the way to go. I always save these things. I know they're always free at Home Depot anytime you get paint, but stuff like this, it's always good to have an old one that you used. Alright, so let's get some food coloring in here. Okay. And I would definitely suggest that if you do this, don't reuse the bowl. Because I'm definitely not planning on doing that. Pretty good. Make sure all the smaller chunks are mixed up. Alright, so I'm not sure if I can get that. Well, it's a pretty good consistency. Still watery, not thick or anything like that. But definitely blue. So food coloring is doing its job. And now just to soak it. Now I have heard various people say, you know, you want to fire this to basically help the silica form. Basically that's what's going to seal all the fibers together. You can do it in the forge at a very low heat, or you can do it with, you know, like MAP gas, if you have a little bottle that you use to sweat copper pipes, and that I do have, so that's probably what I'll be using. It does say let it sit for about a day for it to dry itself, because essentially what you want to end up with is the water evaporated and gone, and the fumed silica left inside the fibers of the wool itself. And like I said, I definitely want to get this stuff to soak through, so I'm going to go a little heavy on this. But essentially, the letting it sit for a day will let some of the water evaporate, so that when you do, you know, either in your kiln or with the MAP gas, fire everything, there's not a lot of you know, smoke or steam evaporation. At least that's what I gather. Alright, so I think that's pretty good and coated, that's for sure. And hopefully it's nice and in there pretty thick. So now, I'll go ahead and move on to the forge itself. So after that's done, that is what we end up with. Alright, now let's start with the forge. That's closer. Go ahead and get all the ends too. You know what, at this point I might end up just standing it up and cutting away and get back to you guys once it's done to show you the final product, because I can't get too far deep in there right now. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and cut away. I'll get back with you guys here shortly. Alright guys, so this is where I'm at as of now. Went ahead and coated everything top to bottom, and still have about that much left over, which will be just enough to get right inside the burners, because there's some wool right inside there on each of the 3 burners. So I'm going to lay this on its top, well, bottom, you know, and get those. And I might end up doing a second coat, but just want to get your heads up that one batch, which was 2 cups of the fumed silicate to 32 ounces of water, was just enough for this forge. And I went pretty heavy too. You know, you saw how heavy I went on this lid, pretty much how I went on the whole thing. But like I said, I might do a second coat, just essentially pouring it on so that way it soaks in. But by my thoughts, this is probably just enough. So, alright guys, so I went ahead and mixed up a just single 1 cup to, it was about 12 ounces of water. I added a purple color dye, food coloring, just so I could see the darker blue where that made it. And then I went ahead and did another light coating all the way around, and it's looking pretty good. So I think I'll take this last little bit, lay this horizontally, and then pour it across the bottom just to make sure there's a nice good cut, because I know that the flames will be coming down, and more protection on the bottom is probably, you know, pretty good. So I'm gonna try that out, and I'll hit you guys back up. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much the end of it. As far as right now, just gonna go ahead and clean up my area. I did end up taking that last little bit, poured it in there, kind of tilted it back so it went all the way down along the bottom. I kind of used my hand to smooth it out, but it's looking pretty nice and coated. I think there's a little bit of penetration. Like I said, some people take it out, penetrate the whole top, bottom, side, back, and then try and sink it back in there. But a lot of other people just say, coat it and see how much it'll soak in. So that's what we did. So from at this point, like I said, we're gonna leave it for 24 hours. Let the air kind of evaporate as much as it can. I'm gonna clean up. So in essence, I am at two original cups of the fumed silicate, and then I added that 3rd cup. So 3 cups of this stuff, and this thing is still really, really full. I don't know if you can see, yeah, it's pretty full. Just a little bit of water, a couple food colorings. If you're doing multiple coats, a second food coloring definitely helps out to know, you know, where that next layer is going. But other than that, I'm gonna finish cleaning up, call it a day, and then next time we come up, we'll probably use map gas and try and seal this stuff, heat it up, and get all the fibers to close. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we did everything right, and we'll go from there. I'll see you guys on the next one. Alright guys, so here we are about 36 hours later, and everything's pretty much dried up. It was gooey for a good portion of it, and then turned hard. So I think we're pretty much rigidized at this point. So the next step would be heating it up. Now I've seen people say go ahead and get the forge going, turn it on a low heat, let it sit for a while. Or you can use, MAP gas. So I've got tons of these, because I'm always, sweating copper, working with copper jewelry, brass jewelry, all that kinds of stuff. So I have these always in stock. So I'm gonna go ahead and use this instead. As usual, it's good to have fire extinguisher nearby. Because of this forge, I did end up getting 2 fire extinguishers. Don't expect to set anything on fire just as of yet. But it was worded that there will be, if there is still moisture, what little trace amounts, there will be some steam from the evaporation. Other than that, I'm pretty sure this is just basically melting the silica fibers at this point. So that's what we're gonna do. I did get 2 pairs of these gloves off Amazon. I think it was like 2 for like $14 or 2 for 20, somewhere around there, 2 for 20. So I got 2 sets of these. I'll go and leave a link down there for these, but they feel really nice. They're like nice and suede inside. But anyway, I'm gonna go and start torching this. I will probably end up speeding this portion of the video through just so you don't have to listen to that the whole time. But yeah, here we go. Another thing that was said that the food coloring will burn off, so that's what's kind of going on here. Alright, so there's the lid. Feels quite a bit more stiff. I don't think the purpose is to actually burn it. Maybe it just might be kind of side effects going on. But pretty sure that should be good. So onto this beast. So that's where we're at. I think it's pretty nice and burned. Let's see. Yeah, it feels nice and stiff. I think this step is now done. Yeah, that's nice and stiff. Other than that, I'm thinking this step we're good at. Next would be the refractory cement, so I'm going to let this sit for just a few minutes. I'll get everything set up for that, and then we'll mix the refractory, start lining that on the first couple layers, and then go from there. So yeah, I'm not sure as far as the burning goes. I'm thinking that it just might be the silica, melting, which it's supposed to do, so it will harden and rigidize. But yeah, as far as I can tell, this stuff is nice and stiff. So we'll see you shortly. All right, guys. So the next step, we're gonna go ahead and add the the refractory cement. Now, what I did see is that you're supposed to mix one of these little baggies, 8 ounces, with half a cup of water. It doesn't seem like it has to be too critical. Just as long as it's some sort of a like thinner peanut butter consistency. I'm gonna go ahead and just use one bag to start off, see how far that gets me. Let's see. Oh, like I said before, multiple thin coats with this stuff. From what I've gathered and seen a lot of people that put it on thick, it cracks. And it's not the best thing for your forge because you don't want cracks anywhere in there. Let me make some more noise like as I talk. So thin layers, some people use their hands with gloves, some people use a paintbrush, so I went ahead and kept the paintbrush that I used from the Rigidizer. As well, I know I said don't reuse this bowl. I went ahead and used it after we were done mixing the Rigidizer in there, and it's fine. Not to eat out of, but to keep mixing out of. As you can see, this bowl has been used for many projects out here in the garage. So I'm going to go ahead and use that again. Same paint stir, and I'm just going to go ahead and toss some water in and slowly mix it up. See how it comes out. You know, in my day I've laid quite a bit of tile, quite a bit of grout. This doesn't seem that far off, not like it's rocket science. Just adding water to sand and then applying. So the big key is to not make it too watery, otherwise it'll take forever to dry between each coat. So I'm going to go ahead and not get it too watery. Try and keep it as peanut butter consistency as I can, without going too dry or without going too wet, and without keeping too many chunks. So I think that actually might be pretty good right there. Get some of these chunks mixed out. And we will call that good. Alright, so nice peanut butter consistency, depending on what brand you get. So I'm just going to go ahead and start laying this stuff on. Like I said, paintbrush, you know, probably even a spackling brush. I'm just going to go with the hand. That way I can feel how thin it's going to stay, or how, you know, how thin I'm going to lay each layer on. But essentially this step seems pretty cut and dry. Just apply thin, let dry. Once dry, apply thin again, and you know, go till there's a nice thickness. Some people go 3/8, some go 1/4 inch, some even go 1/2 inch. I don't think I'm going to go that thick. Like I said, this opening top to bottom, I want to keep as much room as I can in case I do want to fit a larger size cleaver in there. Because the last thing I really want to do is go horizontally with the cleaver, heating up one side and then heating up the other side. I kind of want to keep it consistent. But you know, as I've never done this before, that might be the way I have to go. But I won't be going too thick with this stuff. I'll keep it relatively thin, maybe about an 1/8 inch for each coating. I will probably take a damp cloth and wipe around the metal edge of the lid. That way it'll still seep where it needs to seep. So I don't need to build up thickness here, just here. So I'm going to go ahead and call the lid done. Now today, I'm in Arizona. Today is the 1st of May. March. Wow. And typically Arizona, we run our summers about 120 degrees max. this stuff would dry so quick if it was summertime, because it's a real dry heat. Unfortunately right now, it is still overcast and rainy, so it might take a couple days extra to dry. You know what I just thought of? And a good tip to say right now is probably start deeper and then work your way out. Because at this point I started here, and now I'm going to get it all over my jacket as I go. But you know, like with the Rigidizer, I might end up just putting this up on its ends and then cutting back to you guys. That way I can reach as far as I can in there and actually see all around. So let me go ahead and pause now, but that's where we're at so far. I'll go ahead and recap with you guys once I get done. Alright guys, so that first coat is done. I did end up going through 4 bags, 4 8-ounce bags to do the first coat. I would say that last bag, I might save, I might order more. I don't think I'm going to order more as of yet. Because I have that HT100. That stuff is supposed to kind of like act as a barrier to protect everything else and make a nice, even and warm heat for your kiln. So with that said, from what I gathered, the HT100, you don't need a lot of it. It'll go a long way, and it'll do a better purpose of what the Satanite Refractory Cement does. I just wanted to do a better coverage with this stuff, and then top it off with the HT100. So I think this might be the one and only coat. I mean, I might, you know what? I'll probably end up mixing that bag, going real thin on it, and then doing that second coat, and then I'll do the HT100 after that. I probably will order more of this refractory cement, because for the build that I'm doing, I want to do it. I think it's called a differential heat treat, almost like when katanas are made, where they put clay on the back spine of the blade, so that way that steel stays soft. I think I'm going to do that with my build for the chopper challenge, because I will be making a pretty long sword-ish cleaver type, and I don't want it to be hardened steel all the way down the blade, especially the spine. Down the blade, yes, spine, not so much. I don't want it to, you know, try and chop something and then it, you know, reverberate and then crack. So I might end up ordering more of this for that purpose. And at that time, I'll probably make in that video a comment, you know, if I did get enough bags, because it was, like I said, supposed to be about it was supposed to be 4.5 pounds. 8 ounces per bag, so that's 8 to 16, 1 pound, 2 pound, half a pound. So I think if I got the full order, I would definitely do a whole nother coat, you know, using the rest of those bags. Because if this is where I'm at, I'm just going to use that last bag, thin it out, do another layer once this dries, and then do the HT100 on top of that. So as of now, I mean, it came out pretty nice. You know, it lays on real thin. Like I said, if you are going to do a build like this, do the inside and then scoop out as you go. That way you don't do this first and then get mortar all over your arm. What I did notice on top of that is when I was pulling from this end that I started on this, as I was pulling out, this was already starting to dry and it was starting to peel up. So once I did the other side, I started inside, pulled all the way out, and got really nice consistent results. So with that said, I will let this stuff dry, give it 24 hours, see how it does. Hopefully no cracks, that would be great. I went pretty thin on it. Like I said, it's maybe about a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch thick. So not laying it on too hard. But as of now, I'm gonna clean up, and I think that's it as of this video. I'll hit you back up as soon as I mix this last bag and do that last coat, and then we can move on to, once this is dry, we can fire it and then add the HT100. That way each layer is, you know, dried and fired before the next layer goes on. So until then, see you shortly. All right, guys, it has been 24 hours, and like I said, here in Arizona at this particular time of the year, it's not 120 degrees dry heat. It's like in the 50s and overcast and raining a lot. So in the house we have the heat at 74 degrees, so I left this in our laundry room to basically cure. And we do have some fractures. A light fracture here. I'll go ahead and put like some B-roll over in the corner there or there. But most of the fractures do look like they're, you know, along where the blanket has its layers, and I know there's a seam down the middle where that crack follows. So they're pretty minimal. You know, like I said, I didn't go too thick, and I didn't have any, you know, the dryer wasn't running. There were no fans on in there. There was no, you know, blow dryer or heat gun used to try and expedite the drying process. So I'm going to go ahead and do the last bag that I have of the refractory. I'm going to water it down, get it all over everything. I did order more. I will let you know how many bags come, because hopefully I'll get the 4.5 pounds that it says. If not, you know, I'm still going to have more than enough to do another coat on this after this bag, as well as have some left over for the cleaver to do a differential heat treat. Differential? Something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and speed run through this. I'll mix this last bag, you know, with water, get it watered down, coat it on there, and then I'll check back with you as soon as it's done, get some video, and go from there. So see you shortly. All right, guys. Well, second coat is done. Like I said, I thinned it out quite a bit and spread it, you know, as far as I could. Got good coverage. Wanted to make sure those hairline fractures I did get covered. I'm not too worried about them. I will end up putting these both inside in the laundry room again to give it a day to dry. I don't think it's much to worry about as far as the hairline fractures that appeared. If more appear, I think I'm still good with that. You know, like I said, I've seen some people that lay it on 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch thick, and they have like craters of cracks, like Grand Canyons of cracks. So these ones don't bother me too much. I mean, it's a little discouraging, but hey, water it down, thin it out, do another coat. So I know from the beginning, do multiple coats, do multiple thin coats. So I'm just gonna keep on trucking that way. So I'm not sure what time tomorrow, but we will have more of the refractory cement coming in. When that comes in, and this is dry, I'll go ahead and start that video. Show you how that step goes. So until then, I'll do some B-roll if I haven't already, and then overlap, you know, how this came out. Like I said, watering it down pretty thin, spread it really far, and fill in all the cracks. So step 2 is a success, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so we are 2 days later, 48 hours later. The order of the next batch of refractory cement came in late last night, so I let this sit for the full 2 days. Here we are the next morning. I did weigh the package. The thing is when I ordered the first package of this mortar, that's when I ordered pretty much the bulk of everything. You know, at the beginning of the video, and everything was kind of tossed into one big Amazon box, and these packages were all just kind of tossed in as singles. This I ordered with my 2nd gallon of Parks 50. So this came in a box, that came in a box. So when I weighed this, I'm looking at, I think it was 4 pounds, 10 ounces. Yeah, 4 pounds, 10 ounces. So by my count, that is, 4 pounds, 8 ounces would be 4.5 pounds. I'll count the bags. It definitely feels a lot heavier than the last like batch of 5 bags. Maybe they just, only one was marked 8 ounces, so maybe the other ones were kind of give and take to equal 4 pounds or 4.5 pounds. But just to be sure, we'll see. All right, so we got the first one, which is Volcano Satanite Refractory 8 ounce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Weird. All right. Well, because I mean, 8 and 8, that would be 1 pound. 8 and 8, that'd be 2 pounds and half a pound. But now that I'm thinking about it, look at the size difference. That one's way more full than that one. So maybe that's what it is. Each bag must be, you know, a different weight because box came in at what it should have been. So sorry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and mix up a thick bag and a thick bag. I'll leave these 3. Shut that off. I'll leave those 3 for, you know, other projects, or one I'm probably going to use for the Chopper Challenge cleaver, so I can do that differential heat treat. But I'm going to mix these 2 bags up, do 1 batch. This was our 3rd coating. This will be coating number 4. This is probably going to be the last coating I do on this. You know, I would be able to get away with 1 bag, but I figured since I got it, let's just do two, you know, water down, thin it out, not too thick. And then the next step would be the HT100. So I should have some B-roll going, showing what this all looked like. Just a minimal cracking on the bottom of the tank. You know, I got some crackage around here, but I'm not too concerned about that. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and mix this up, get both of these coated, and I'll get you a video as soon as I get that done, showing how it looks, and go from there. Alright, so that is a wrap on the 3rd coating. You want to keep this on while I clean this out later. You know, it occurred to me that like some people have good days, some people have off days, and I've been having, I guess, a streak of off days because it didn't occur to me until I cut between this, you know, last video that I was going off of 1 package saying 8 ounces, right? So that's half a pound. And then I was like tossing these other ones on there because they obviously seemed a lot more fuller. 1 pound, 1 pound, 1 pound, 1 pound. So they're 16 ounces on each of those 4. So 4.5 pounds. That's how we got to where we're at. Anyway, 3rd coat is done. I did the 2 packs, the two heavier packs, 2 1-pounders. Applied that generously, went, you know, really thin with it. A little bit more watery than peanut butter consistency, just so it could spread. But I'm gonna let this sit here. Maybe about an hour or 2. I'll come out with a damp like paper towel and kind of smooth all the fingerprints off, because I definitely want it to be a nice smooth finish before I do the HT100. But it went on good. So far, every step has been cruising well. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna clean up. I'll hit you guys back up. I might let this sit for 2 days, just so it is nice and dry before we do the HT100. I might also do some research and see. I'm not sure if I should fire this before doing the next HT100. I know it says before you do the next step, before each step is done, make sure the last step is cured, or at least dried. So I'm not sure if this is just going to be dry enough to put the HT100 on, or if I need to cure it, but I will let you guys know when I figure that out. Obviously at that next point, I'll have that figured out, but I'm going to clean up, and I'm going to call it a day. I can't really think of anything else to say. Everything went real smooth. Like I said, went real watery. That last coat went nice and smooth. But anyway, see you guys shortly. All right, guys. It's been about 3 days. I had some stuff come up. My cat and my mom's cat, we both got them about 22 years ago. Their last vet visit, you know, the past few visits, you know, the veterinarian was saying, you know, they're kind of on their way out. So this last visit, she was like, yeah, we might want to think about letting them go in peace. So, you know, went ahead and took care of that. Built a couple coffins for him and put him to rest. But anyway, with that 3 days, this is cured. At least the last coating of the refractory cement. It's now on to the HT100, 100 HT. I'm going to go ahead and mix this up and apply that and go from there. From what I've seen, you want this to be a latex paint consistency, almost watery. You can even spray this on with a paint sprayer, but I am going to do the typical you know, paintbrush. With it being so thin, it is advised to do, you know, one thin layer on the bottom, let that start to set, put it on its side, you know, coat the side, and then flip it upside down, and, you know, do each side, let each side cure a little bit, so it just isn't a big watery slosh, you know, as you go around, because otherwise it's just gonna go up here and pool down. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I've not cracked it open yet, but from what I can see, it's almost like a clay consistency. So we're gonna give this a shot and see how it comes out. Now, you know, like I said, it's meant to be applied thin. Try and keep as much noise down. So I'll probably do multiple coats. Ooh, that's pretty clay-like. All right. That's got a smell to it. I want to say that that reminisces to some times of a fishing bait. That's definitely the smell I'm getting off of this. So I'm going to do, you know what? Probably just do half the container for now. As far as the mixing ratios, it does say on the container 2 to 1. You got 2 parts of this to 1 part water. So we'll go ahead and do that ratio. Go a little bit more. And it's not as, that is a strong smell. It's not as powdery, obviously, as the refractory cement. So I'll probably be mixing this by hand. I even brought a little spatula just in case I need to help break it up or, you know, scoot it around. This is like being back in kindergarten playing with clay, get your hands all dirty. Or that scene from Encino Man when Brendan Fraser hops out and there's mud prints all over the wall. Alright. It's mixing up quite well. You know, no chunks as far as aggregate goes, no big chunks. So that's good. It's still a sandy consistency. But almost there. Now again, this stuff is to prolong the life of the forge, so it doesn't deteriorate as fast, and it also, from what I've seen, helps basically reflect the heat of your forge. A lot of people can't get to forge welding temperatures, which is high heat temperatures, and what this does is help reach those temps. I think it's a 30% increase in heat that I saw. You know, some people were doing some ratios on there. But as far as what I want to do, getting to my heat treat temperature, this is definitely the solution to get to that temperature. It's a pretty good consistency, latex paint for sure, but I'm wondering, there's still some little clay chunks. I'm wondering, scrape all this off. Probably just be easier to smack this in there. Break them all up. There we go. You know, from doing, like I said, doing tile work for years, I do have a mixer, but I don't think I want to mix up that big of a batch. That's nice and consistent. There we go. Okay. Alright, looking good. So, go ahead and do the lid as usual. Just kind of pieced it down. And from what I've seen, most people just do one really thin coat, and that gets them to where they need to be. So I don't think I need to do multiple coats of this stuff. It does need to dry completely before use. And some people said, you know, because it's watered down so much, it might take a couple days. So I might let this sit for a couple days just to make sure that's 100% dry, because you do want to fire this. Some people say you don't have to. Some people say if you are going to use it, let it fully dry and then bring your forge up to heat slowly, and start at a low flame and then slowly bring it up. So go ahead and start on the inside. And as before, I'm going to start deeper in there and work my way out, so I don't get my arm too messy. It's going on real good. And I don't think, from the people that were watering this down enough for it to be sprayed through a paint sprayer, I could see that it had a lot more of a water consistency. But I don't think if I tip this on its side and do the top as well, I don't see this pooling up as bad. So I'll probably just end up doing that. Now that I'm applying it and seeing it be applied, I don't think that's going to be a problem at all. Now, I had said this at the beginning of the video, you can go straight from the Rigidizer of your Kaowool, basically the blanket, and apply this stuff directly to the blanket once it's been rigidized. Most people don't want to do that because this stuff is so expensive. As far as price of this versus price of the refractory cement, which is why I did it that way. Because really, it's just the coating of this is what you need. You don't need, half-inch thick or quarter-inch thick coating of this stuff. I mean, unless you got the money, coat that stuff all over. I'm sure it'll take care of you just fine. Yeah, I'm going up on the sides. This isn't going to be a worry for me to tip it around. But I am going to cut away. I'm going to stand it up, that way I can get in there better. And then I'll cut back to you as soon as I'm done. So see you shortly. Alright guys, so that is fully coated. Sorry, 100 HT. I did take about a teaspoon out, just to mix and get like the last little bit just before I ended. But that's where I'm at as of now. I'm going to go ahead and let that fully cure for a couple of days before I do the second coat. I mean, I've got half of this left. It took half to do that so far, so since I have it, might as well use it. So I'll go ahead and do that and get back with you, once I get to that next step. I did want to say before I cut from the last video, where the refractory cement set for 3 days, I didn't come back in with a wet cloth and smooth everything out. Things happen, and I didn't have time to do that. But what I did do is I had this drywall plaster is like basically sanding strips. Back when I used to do drywall repair, those smooth out your plaster. So I basically used that and smoothed everything out, you know, after it had dried. So those are definitely fun to have, good to have to smooth everything out. But as of now, I'm going to call this step done, let this dry, however long that takes, and then I'll come back for the second coat and we can go from there. So yeah, it went on real good, and can't wait to fire this thing up. Alright guys, we'll see you soon. Alright guys, so 24 hours later and this stuff is cured. I mean, it is dry and like it is top notch. Like this stuff is like the bee's knees. When the Satanite, when I kept doing, you know, each layer of that stuff, it was kind of chalky. You know, there's a lot of powder and dust I had to blow out before, you know, the next layer of each one. You know, packing this stuff is just like it is solid. It's got a nice grip texture to it. So I'm digging this. 24 hours cured, no problems. I mean minimal, and I mean minimal cracks. There's maybe some around here. I don't think I got any B-roll of after I applied it from the last video, but I'm gonna mix up the last half of this stuff. I'll get some B-roll of that once it's applied, and then I'll get back to you guys, but I'm not gonna put you through going and like mixing and all that. So I'll cut here, I'll mix it, apply it, and come back at you. So after this last step, 24 more hours, we can assemble the forge and get it fired up. So I'm pretty stoked about that. Yeah, I love this stuff. It is awesome. So see you shortly. All right, so coat number 2 of the 100 HT is done, applied. I had just enough to get, you know, one more coat fully round. I went real light. I left the lid for last because I was more concerned about getting everything as far as in the forge. I did get B-roll just before this started, so you can see what it looks like applied. But that will be it as far as all the coatings. 24 hours, this stuff is probably going to be set, and we can assemble the forge and get this thing fired up. So I'm pretty stoked about that. But yeah, everything went smooth. Did a real thin coat. Used all of it, and calling it good for now. So I will check back 24 hours. All right, guys. So the 100 HT coat number 2 is done, and I am like more than ecstatic, more than satisfied. This stuff is dry, it is set, it is solid. Whatever cracks, whatever minimal cracks there were on that previous first coat, they're gone now. I'll get some B-roll going. But I'm really stoked at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this here. I'm gonna get everything set up, and we're gonna start assembling this forge here in a sec. So see you then. All right, guys. So got everything out that I need. I didn't get the fire bricks out. Like I said, I probably won't be using those. If anything, maybe as a makeshift door, if need be, at the time that I do forge. Pretty much got these 3 guys, this whole assembly, and basically the propane hose to hook it all up. This seems pretty thin. Looking at pretty cut and dry. Alright, so let's start with step 1. We got the part list, cool, got everything there. Assemble the burners on the end of the bridge. That seems easy enough. Just pop these on here. Ooh, we got caps. That would probably be good to take those off. Otherwise, we get no flow. Alright, so let me just crank this up here. Okay, number 1. Go. Alright, number 2. And number 3. Now, by my count, usually we would use some sort of thread sealer. But I'm not sure. I don't run gas. I run pipes and things like that, you know, Teflon tape's usually how to keep that seal. Doesn't say use Teflon tape, didn't come with Teflon tape. We'll see how it goes after that. Slide the burners onto the 3 openings at the top of the forge. Okay. Looks like this connector sits like that. So 1, 2, 3. These are all the way back out. They were. Alright, so I'm guessing tightening those down. Yes, lock the burners into position using the set screws. At this point, your assembly should look like figure 1. I'll B-roll each page so you guys can see. Assembly, attach the regulator C to the bridge E. That seems easy enough. Place a fire brick inside, don't need to do that. Connect the regulator to the propane tank, open the propane tank, adjust the flame. Use a set screw to lock the air intake position. Use a second burner, open the valve. Obviously, whatever burner you do want to use, all 3 or just 2. That makes sense. So, cut and dry, bro. I'm digging this. I am so stoked to use this thing. It is really, really early morning. The kids are not entirely up yet. I'm sure they're bouncing around their bedrooms. Take this off. They are currently on spring break, so they stayed up late playing video games. I don't know if anyone's got a Nintendo Switch, but dude, we've got like 4, 5 of those in the house. Definitely a fan favorite. Alright, so let's just tighten this up. Let's see, that has a washer inside, so I'm not too worried about having to use Teflon on this. You gonna catch? There we go. Alright. Since there is a washer, I'll go ahead and tighten this down. Cool. Go ahead and call that probably good enough. So yeah, like I said, it's pretty early in the morning. Twist you around. I probably will wait until tonight to get this hooked up to propane and get some flames going, but go and stretch that out. In the meantime, there we go. Got a nice length on there. How long is this? 5 foot? 6 foot maybe? Good length of hose on there. Probably to keep a nice distance. Alright, so there we go. Assembly done. So we're gonna call that good. I will cut it here. Disclaimer, operational safety. Good to know, keep that in mind. Yeah, I'll cut it here and I'll meet you guys back up tonight. The other reason I'm waiting for tonight, kind of want to see the flames, you know, just that way I can visualize, see how much is coming through, what the flames look like, how much oxygen is getting in, that we can, I guess, dial it in. I don't know a lot about forges. I do know too much oxygen, too little oxygen is good and bad. And I'm pretty sure the distance of these, because I've seen some people have them where they're tapered and they sit outside. Not necessarily outside, but not sunken all the way in, if that makes sense. But anyway, I'll cut it here and we'll meet you guys back up and hopefully get some flames going in a good way. Still have the fire extinguishers, but just in case, we'll keep them nearby. So, check back soon. Alright guys, so I got the propane hooked up, got the fire extinguishers, I'll get some B-roll going right now. But I went ahead and fired it up just to make sure everything's connected, got no leaks or anything like that. But I'm going to toy around with turning all the burners on. Right now, 2 and 3 are off, and I'm going to play around with adjusting these because the flame was quite, I think it's oxygen rich, where they're really just a big flame coming out. Maybe that's gas, maybe that's propane rich. so maybe not enough oxygen. So I kind of want like that low roar. So I'm gonna turn it back on, light it up, and then start low, and then work on all 3 burners to see how good we can get this to tune in. So here we go. Okay, so we've got our initial burn. Let's see. Too much oxygen. Too much oxygen. Okay. Sorry, I've got the monitor right behind the camera. That's what I'm referencing right now. Just to see how the flame is doing. Let's see if I can't do 2. Right? Turn the gas down. And we are off. So I will say that it's pretty successful. Probably going to spend quite a bit of time dialing it in, but as of right now, I'm really stoked. If you guys want to see, after I get this dialed in, so I'm going to post this video. This is obviously in working condition. Pretty stoked with how it's coming out. But if you want to see it at like full working mass, I'm going to toy with it in the meantime for the chopper challenge. For that, I should have this dialed in
and working like a champ. But I mean, for now, as far as this video goes, you know, we rigidized it, satanized, refractory cement, satanized, and then the 100 HT 100, and assemble it, and it's all good to go. So I'm gonna call this video good. Hopefully you guys dug it. In the meantime, I do have a IR camera, you know, like a heat gun, to see what temperature we can get this thing to. So if you guys do want to see this in working condition and see what temp I can get it to, chopper challenge, that's going to be out soon. I need to start that, and by April, I think the first week of April, it'll be out. So yeah, until then, thanks you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys dug the video. If you guys have any input, let me know what you would have done differently, or you know, anything like that. But yeah, I'm going to toy with the oxygen to gas ratio in the meantime, and yeah, go from there. I'm pretty stoked. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Later.